Hello and welcome back to Dan Cooks Food. I've got a little bit of an impromptu video today. I didn't really plan it, but here in the UK we're getting our 36 hours of summer, so I thought I'd jump in and give you a quick recipe just to make the most of it before it disappears. You know, now we love summer here in the UK. We love it for two reasons. One, it gives us a reason to complain, and two, it allows us to drink in the day, and that's what this recipe is about. We're going to basically make a frozen cocktail. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So I'm pretty sure I don't need to tell you how to mix a G&T, but I'm going to anyway. This is the base of our Granita. So literally in with the gin, about 75 mils, something like that. You don't want to use too much. Obviously this is to taste, but the more alcohol you put in, the softer it becomes because alcohol doesn't freeze. So you do have to be a little bit careful. Next up, we've got some elderflower cordial. Now, if you can find fresh elderflower, that's amazing. Make a syrup and use that. I couldn't get hold of any. Coming to the end of the season, it's not exactly the easiest thing to get hold of anyway. But again, knock that in. You just want this to taste, really. Once you can taste it, that's enough. And then I've got a little bit of tonic water with some lemon rinds, which I've already infused. Literally, just take a peeler, take a strip down, give it a rub, knock it in there, let it sit for about 10 minutes, just to get that lemony flavour through. Add that in, give it a quick mix, make sure it's all incorporated. And taste it. I reckon that's about bang on. You can adjust the amount of gin and elderflower, but obviously again, just be careful that you're not going too far with it because it won't freeze. Now that's ready. Take out the lemon zest, pour it into a flat tray and freeze it overnight. So the next step is a real simple strawberry compote. It's beautiful in summer, you know, English strawberries, bang in season right now. You know, they're at their best, so you may as well use them. And this is a really simple recipe. It's really light, really fresh. First things first, get a pan on. You want a kind of medium heat, not searing hot, but you know, sort of medium to high anyway. And you get that pan on first because you need it to be up to temperature before the strawberries go in. If you put them in a cold pan and bring it up, they'll stew and they'll lose all their flavour. You'll end up with a real mushy, horrible mess. You want to cook these really, really quickly. So with these, what I'm going to do is get on a board, take off the green. Now, I know some people who eat the green, but those people are barbarians. Just get rid of it, it's not great. Cut these, we're going to probably go, they're quite fat, so we're going to about 6 with these. Maybe 8ths on the bigger ones. You want a sort of bite-sized piece. If you've got smaller ones, halves or quarters will do you. Yeah, just dice these up nice and quick. Okay, so the strawberries are diced. The pan is pretty much where you want it. Last thing to do, a little bit of icing sugar in here. Just kind of dust it over your strawberries. Probably only like a tablespoon, something like that. And then these go straight into the pan. Now I don't know if you can hear that, but these are sizzling away already. You know, the juice is starting to release, and that's all we want to do here, is just really lightly heat them. You're not trying to cook them, you just want the heat to penetrate a little bit, and that's going to draw out all the lovely moisture and juice, which is basically going to add a sauce to this dish without making a sauce. And honestly, like, fresh strawberry juice is just, there's nothing like it. It's amazing, especially once it's been in the fridge and it's chilled right down. Absolutely delicious. So literally just toss these around, maximum of 2 minutes. You'll see a little bit of juice kind of pooling in the bottom when they're ready. They should still have their shape and they'll lose a little bit of size, but again, you're not cooking them, you're just sort of releasing that juice. So 2 minutes absolute max. I'd say these are about ready, so they need to go into a bowl, into the fridge, and then again leave them overnight, and then you're pretty much ready to build with your Granita and your strawberries. So here we have our gin. I've literally just gone over this with a fork, smashed it up. This is the sort of texture you're after, you know, it's like snow really. You know, you don't want it to be a fine paste, you want it to be nice and crunchy, a few crystals in there, which is, you know, traditional with a Granita. You know, I've seen people do this in like a food processor before. I did try it, and it just went to like slush basically. I think you have to have a really cold freezer and a really fast food processor for this to work. But the amount of time it takes to do it with a fork, you know, because of the alcohol in here, because of the extra sugar, the ice isn't super hard, so you can do it easily with a fork. There's no need to, you know, bring out the machinery. And with that being done, we're pretty much ready to plate up, so we'll get started with that. So here are some strawberries which I did last night. Now as you can see, you know, they've just sat there, they've been cooked out a little bit, and they've sat there overnight with the sugar. You can see how much sort of juice is coming out of that. You know, and that strawberry juice, like, it's nice and chilled, it's so refreshing, it's so beautiful. So the last thing we do is the lemon that we used to peel from earlier in the cocktail, a few sort of drops of that juice in there. Now you don't want the taste of lemon, you just want that sort of acidity to bring out the sweetness of the strawberries. And this is ready to go. So a few of the strawberries at the bottom, just to, you know, create some layers really. In they go. Throw all this Granita on top. You know, generous portions, you know, don't want to be skimpy with this. So throw all of that in, and then a few more strawberries over the top. And at this point, you want to make sure you're getting all that syrup from the bottom. Yeah, pour it over, and it will sort of sink through, and this will freeze in contact with the Granita, but it'll also like sink through. You get this wonderful syrup permeating the whole thing. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah, it's like the best slush puppy you've ever had. And that's it really, you know, super simple but it's super refreshing, really nice flavours in there. Now you can do this with other cocktails. This is just a personal favourite of mine, so I went with it. But you know, there's nothing to stop you using pretty much any cocktail that you like. You know, freeze it down, scrape it, and away you go. You know, it's really nice on a summer's day. So nice one, thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you in the next one.